Welcome back to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. We got a great segment for you. It's called The Athlete and the Chef. So sit back, relax, and let's go. It worked. Cool. Welcome to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast. I am Cornell. This is Matt. How you doing tonight?
Something like that.
Yeah, no, I was actually that was my wife's idea. So
she's so funny.
Yeah, she's like, you should say I am Cornell. This is Matt, and I'm like, I'll try it. So
it worked.
Tell
her it worked. It was hilarious.
Oh, Cornell. How you doing today? How you doing this weekend? Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Feel good after the competition. It was, I went into this competition. I had a handful of people say, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I'm like, just because I've been pretty beat up and I haven't been in the greatest shape and my numbers are definitely down. But I was like, competition's competition. Like I'm going out there to do 6 lifts in front of judges and to do it not on my, like the whole spiel. I'm doing it not on my time. I'm doing it for the sake of competing.
Right.
I realistically wasn't competing with anybody. Just kind of competing with myself and some of the stuff that I thought about. If I didn't do this competition, for how beat up I was, I probably would not have put the effort into getting my body fixed as quickly as I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been kind of falling apart realistically since November.
I can appreciate that.
It wasn't realistically until the last 6 to 8 weeks that I've been really trying to get my body back to shape where I can get through everything and do everything.
Right.
And if I didn't do this, I don't know if I would have realistically ever gotten to the point where I was back. And I'm not saying that I'm back, but I did everything I wanted to do. I didn't do quite as good as I wanted, but nobody ever does. But
right. That's the truth.
I mean, it's whatever. It's the first meet in, I want to say 4 years. I haven't totaled 300 and I wasn't near 300. But I think that was just a good mental thing to just kind of be okay with and just say, like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to prove anything to anybody. And I'm not trying to act like, oh, these are just new numbers that I'll just be trying to beat. But it is kind of cool knowing that, like, okay, the next meet I do, I should have a fairly easy time beating that number.
Yeah, you sure would. You know, I mean, you can look at it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to look at it, but like, well, let's back up. We watched it, obviously. I sent you the videos, whatever.
I saw the videos, and it made me feel tingles inside.
We always do, and it's kind of a thing. But you're lifting. You could tell with your mentality that you were out there putting in a comp, and I mean, listen, dude, you still won the competition, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I won everything there was to win.
Yes, exactly. So in the words of the wise Cornell, you still won. So it doesn't really, your numbers don't matter at this point. You've hit the numbers that you wanted to hit in your lifetime for the most part, I would imagine. But, you know, I mean, I think that's a really good outlook to have. And it's a good lesson for other people to hear that because first of all, it was a local comp. It was something fun to do. You enjoyed being there with your team and friends and all that stuff. And I mean, you supported your teammates. That's one thing. You know, you helped Josh out with buying him some time. And there's something about that. I love that you do that to people or for people a lot. And you know, it was just cool. I don't think that. Let me ask you this. Not every comp should be going to battle, correct?
No. No, I think that if you're in that mindset of you need to go to battle at all these different competitions and sessions and that the world is all against you, then you got enough mental problems that you should probably just find a therapist and not just try to bury it and fix it with weightlifting.
Yeah, that's really well said.
I will say this is, even though I didn't make the lifts I wanted, I had a total blast. Like, it was super fun. I was able to go and, like you said, I was able to go to my friend Josh's coach and just be like, hey, what do you want? What time does he want? Because I will make my adjustments based on what you want, because I want him to do as good as possible. Yeah. So I actually went up there and I lowered my entry after I had said everything, just so that I could then buy him an extra minute and a half. Like, I think I had a one. I don't even remember. I think I had a 125 entry, and I dropped it to 119, I think, or something in that range. Okay. 121. I don't know. But I was planning on opening heavier than that.
Yeah, so that's what I
thought. I dropped it down so that the clock would go to me after his 90 seconds of rest. The clock would go to me, and then I let it run down another 90 seconds, and then we switched it back to him, and then it reset his clock with a time change. Nice. And then I was able to go up and hit my lifts.
Yeah. I really like the aspect. I like it when any competition, I like the fact that they stream that live, and that's fun.
For free.
Think there you go.
AW, you suck.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's all good. And there were a couple funny moments, like at our house. First of all, Maddie, every weight change, Maddie's like, all right, Cornell's up. And I'm like, she goes, what is he opening at? Like, getting mad at me. And I'm like, I don't know what he's opening at. Just chill out. And then there was a couple times I'm taking video and Alana starts talking, and I look at her and go, don't. And she goes, he can't hear me, you ass. I'm like, oh yeah. Sorry. But it was fun. It was fun to watch. It was fun to see you do. I'm glad you did it. I think, the old saying of, it's just another notch on the belt and you move forward from here.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, one of our old teammates, Stephen Powell, he's done like 250 meets. I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to ever do that. Like, yeah, right. I'm not even going to try to touch that. But
no,
I believe I'm trying to hit at least 40.
Yeah.
And I think that one was the 39th sanctioned meet.
Nice.
So there was a couple of mix-ups that you were involved with, not in the bad for you, not your bad.
Yeah.
With one meet, and then there was probably close to 10 meets that I did that were just online, non-sanctioned, that I really don't count. It was just a game.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, a meet is a meet, and I know that the sanction part, that's how it goes. That's like the legitimacy of it. But I'll tell you what, sanctioned or not, that meet in Oceanside, I'll never forget it. It's still to this day one of the funnest meets I have ever done. And
I totally agree with that. What I would consider a sanctioned meet is they're following the rules. So even though that one had some technical difficulties later on after, and it didn't end up becoming sanctioned or whatever, I don't know all the real details of what happened. It was behind the scenes error.
Right.
That was a sanctioned meet. There were rules. There was the press out rule. There was a timer. There was all the things that were required for a real meet. Just because they screwed it up doesn't mean that it wasn't real when we were doing it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we're
a lot of these other online meets, they were adjusting the rules and making up their own rules. And it's like, that's not a competition. That's a glorified max out day to collect money.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's a name. It could. I don't even think it could be called a mock meet, because you're still not following the actual rules of a competition. So yeah, a glorified max out day. Yeah. And it's. Oh, I was going to ask you. That's what I was going to ask you. I blinked for a second there. Now, I think you said it on the polo, but I want to clarify here. Was that a gold bar you were lifting on?
Okay, so I don't normally like to talk trash about companies.
Okay.
I've lifted on a ton of different barbells. That is the worst freaking bar known to man. That should be thrown in the garbage. Whoever made that should be beat to death with it.
Yeah.
It is a gold bar. I'm even going to put it out there because I think that they need to know that bar freaking sucks. It's from Revision.
Yeah.
And not all their bars are bad, but that bar, I've used it twice. This is the second time. The first time I used it, I said, that's the worst bar I've ever used in my life.
Right.
The center knurl is just as aggressive as the outside knurl. And it's a comp bar, so it's very aggressive. There were people with blood coming down their necks after clean and jerk session.
Wow.
And I'm not someone who catches it in the neck and then has it like slide down. I'm pretty good at catching the bar like right where it needs to be. When I caught that first clean, that bar was embedded in my neck. And when I did the dip for the jerk, I felt like there was pressure on my neck and that bar was coming off my neck. Like,
wow.
I then went out there and made the second attempt and I treated it a little bit different. I don't know what exactly I did, but my body just like, no, I don't want that to happen again. And I didn't get it as bad. And at that point I had already won the Sinclair and basically I'd won everything. So the last clean and jerk was just going to be so I could try to hit like a 290 total. And I was this close to just scratching it and being like, it's not worth it. Like, it's just not worth the pain that bar is causing.
Yeah. I mean, not only is that distracting as hell, but like they were having to clean it every almost every attempt. It was every other attempt. They're like, spraying the rag and cleaning it down and rolling it off.
There was blood all over the bar because it was ripping everyone up. And I'm good with the rough, like a pretty sharp bar. Like my normal bar that I use is an Eleiko comp bar.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as bad as that.
Does it comparable or worse than the Puros bar?
The Puros bar has no knurl compared to this thing.
Holy crap.
Like, I don't like the Puros bar.
Yeah.
And I would 100% take the Puro bar any day over this bar.
Wow. But
you know how rough that Puros bar is. Imagine that on the center knurl and just attacking your neck.
No, thank you. That and that is something that, like, I guess you live and learn as a company, and you make products and whatever. But like, take the feedback, look at the lifters afterwards. Might be good to, pivot and say, hey, maybe we don't need a sharp center knurling, or just, I mean, you could probably take that center knurling off and it would be just fine, right?
So the center knurl is a tradition and it's part of the IWF.
It's the standards. Okay.
For making it a bar. It's not used anymore. It used to be back in the day, maybe I don't know how many 100 years ago, maybe, where they still had one arm lifts. So that's what it was for. So that would make a little bit more sense if you had a little bit rougher thing on the middle. But now it's just something that distinguishes the 15 from the 20 kilo bar.
Yeah, now it doesn't make any sense at all. It's it's just there to cut up your neck. Well, I mean, okay, so all that said, I was like, he's lifting on a gold bar right now. That's pretty awesome. And there's another thing, like, I don't think there was actual commentary, but every time you got up to lift, whoever was sitting behind the camera kept talking about how you don't strap your shoes. And I'm like, they need to shut up. like seriously. I'm sure you couldn't hear them, but
no, I couldn't hear anything. I purposely wore the white and green with maroon Luge Ajun shoes because it was the St. Patrick's Day meet.
Nice.
And normally I wear the pink ones, and the pink ones actually fit a smidge different where I don't even tie them. So I had these ones I wore a little bit longer, and I had tightened them and kind of they shrunk to my foot. The pink ones, when I put them on, they just fit great how it was, and I don't tie them at all.
Yeah.
I think I just have them tied in a knot, but I just slide them out on and off, and then I'll tighten the top or the right top strap when I do jerks, and that's it.
Nice.
So they probably would
Well,
have freaked out a little bit more with that.
yeah, they were just like, they kept on talking about it. I was like, yeah, okay, guys. Well, I mean, overall, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks as long as it was a success to you. And I think that that's really all that matters. I like your outlook on it. I like the fact that you're still competing. You're still pushing forward. You've done a lot in the sport. So kudos to you on that. Now let's transition a little bit into something you brought up, and you're probably actually really fresh on your mind because you're about to go into this, which is the time you take off after a competition. I personally, I don't know the exact amount. I don't know what the perfect window is. I've done a week before. I've done no time before. So I don't know if there's somewhere in between there. To me, I guess it would matter when your next competition is, but what's your thought on all that?
I would say it has a lot to do with your training age and the weights you're lifting and injuries going into the gym or injuries going into the competition. And I'll just say family life and work and like what you were putting on the back burner to get through this competition.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm going to be back in the gym tomorrow. So I'm not taking any time off. Nice. I've actually never felt this good after a competition because I think a lot has to do with I'm like 40 kilos under my best total.
Yeah, that probably does play a part in it. Yes.
But I mean, I was pushing for max effort lifts. So
just because you were 40 kilos under doesn't mean that you weren't lifting at your capacity at that moment.
And the amount of work that went into just getting to the meet, this was probably one of my hardest meets to get ready for.
Interesting. Is it because of kind of like you were saying at the beginning, like from November on, you've been struggling with some body issues, of some injuries. You got a lot of life stuff going on. And is that kind of why you say that, or is it just something of you're getting to a certain age? Like what do you think that is?
No, I think it's just physically. I had a lot of outer back, lat, bicep, shoulder issues that were literally causing me not to be able. I couldn't lift my arm 3 weeks ago. My left arm, I could not lift it.
Yeah.
Like I could figure out how to get it up, but I couldn't go like this. It was like I would have to go like this, and then I would have to, and that's how I could get my hand up. And
wow.
But I was like, all right. And people are like, you can drop out. I'm like, no. If I drop out, I'm not gonna do the hours and hours of physical therapy and the massage therapy and the chiropractic and all of the stuff that was going on and the work I was doing at home before work, after work, at work. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have done all of that kind of stuff. And physically, it was like the hardest meet that I've ever gotten to. I think I went 4 weeks ago, I hit a 290. And then that was kind of when the last bit of everything just fell apart. And realistically, I've probably got 80% of what I was capable of training session in a week leading up to this meet.
Oh.
So there was a whole lot of me snatching 50 kilos and nothing else and just trusting the process that it was going to be okay.
I mean, and that, man, I kind of feel like I don't think I've been exactly in that position. I've been in a position to where I'm rolling into a comp and I haven't even hit the numbers that I'm going to open with. And I still did okay. Left lots of room to grow. But that's an interesting topic right there. I think it's really easy to blame it on the programming. Like, and the only reason I'm saying that is because that's probably what I was doing. I was like, I haven't even hit these numbers. I know I can, but I haven't. And so, but I still went out there and I did hit them on the platform. I didn't go much above them, but, but that's okay, you know, and, you know, should you be hitting bigger numbers? I know it's a confidence builder. For me, it's a confidence builder. It's like if I'm hitting my opener multiple times within the 4 weeks leading up, I know that I have more. I don't want to hit my third attempt probably ever, because that's something I'm going to go for that's bigger than what I even know at the time. But or it's going to be something to, you know, make it into the damn competition and I'll bomb out, you know, like, but the openers is where I'm at. Like you know, hitting your openers leading up to it. And do you think you should hit it multiple times? Do you think that that's how you pick an opener? I mean, I know the 92% thing, but like, how did you like adjust your opener this time?
So that was a on the fly change. I called 125, 145, and I was planning on sticking to it until I was about 7 minutes out. But someone thought I was 3 minutes out. So I just started hitting 120 in the back for a couple of different reps.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm not going to open at 125 then. If I just hit 120 twice, 2 or 3, I don't even remember how many times I hit. I think I hit it and then I powered it and then I hit it again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not opening at 25.
Yeah.
So that's why I ended up going up. Personally, I think that if the person's in good shape and they're doing well and they have a good mental head on their shoulders, I would having them hitting more than their third attempt. Like I would kind of have it planned out in advance. Like this is what we want to open with, because I want that opener to be like, no questions asked. Like, yeah, I missed my opener. Mm-hmm. When I looked down at that bar and I saw some blood hanging on, trying to drip off the bar, I said to the loaders, I'm like, hey, after this rep, let's clean the bar, because there's a lot of blood all over it. And I kept that bar too far away from me because I was like, I don't want to get that head on me. And I missed it, and I came back and made it, and it was fine. But
you had some freaky things, like weird things happen, like the blood and then the stupid sign falling in the background.
I was trying to like stretch my arm last second because I couldn't find a PVC pipe, and I'm like, oh, I can grab this, and the sign falls off on me. I'm like, my bad, just leave it alone.
But
no, I think if like, okay, what's your best competition snatch?
107.
Okay. And what are you planning on opening at in 2 weeks?
I would like to open at 98.
Okay. So I would want you making cracks at 110.
Yeah.
Like I would want you to be at the point where 98 is such an easy number that you're not even thinking about it. You're chasing that 110, 113, because I know your best is 12 from a certain position.
From a weird position, yes.
But still, your best snatch is 112. I would want you pushing that 12 to maybe even 15. Like maybe you made 110, you tried 13, missed it behind or something, and then said, screw it, let's put on 15, and then called it after that.
Yeah.
Because I would want the numbers that you're going out there to hit in competition to be numbers that you have hit before. They're not these like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a PR I've never, like, where you're getting all worked up. I would want it to be something that you can go out there and just, I've done this before.
Yeah.
Like I might not have done it in competition before, so that's where it really counts, but I've done this before, and not have that mental freak out.
Yeah. And I that's interesting, because leading up to the Oceanside, I was doing AI, and I had those attempts and I had those cracks, and it gave me the confidence on my third attempt. At that my third snatch attempt, I did attempt 110, and I just dropped it barely out of front of me. Like I had it over my head, and then just like, dunk. Oh, okay. Dang it. Like, but
and you didn't have that fear of like, I've never done this before.
Correct.
And I think that there are way too many coaches who are we want to save it for the competition day, but those people who are saving it for the competition day realistically probably haven't been lifting long enough to get that out of their head.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I'm going to Rose City tomorrow. Joe just texted me right before the show. He's like, "Hey, you want to get in a session tomorrow at the, I want to see you lift, all the way through it." And I said, "Okay, cool." And I'm sure we're going to be talking about those openers, and it's kind of one of our last big days going into nationals. So,
yeah, and I think you opening at 98, that's a great idea, because probably people are going to hunker around 100.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of people who want to hit 100. So you go out there, you hit 98, then you're going to, I don't know what he's doing right now programming wise, but if I was programming for you, I would have you doing waves, because you're probably going to have to sit for 7 to 10 minutes. I don't know what the competition looks like. I don't know how the sessions look. I'm totally in the dark, but based on stuff that I've kind of seen, you open at 98, you'll go first. Then there's going to be a whole hunker down at 100, and then the next big jump will be 105.
Yep.
And I could be wrong, but if you're used to waves and you don't have to do them, you're going to be in even better shape than you'd think. So
well, and that's a really good point. And I brought that up yesterday. Damon came over for a little impromptu kind of thing, and I was like, I just worked up in singles, and I was like, man, this feels so weird working up in singles, because I haven't done it in the past 8 weeks, because everything has been either waves or complexes or doubles or triples or whatever. And I'm like, it starts to make you realize, like, oh, you only have to lift this weight one time, and then you put on another one. Then you only lift it one time. I don't have to do a complex. I don't have to pull and then lift and then overhead squat and, all that crap. And there's another thing that came about, which I really appreciated that Joe said this to me, which was, he's like, I want you waiting 2 to 3 minutes in between these heavy lifts. Because he saw me getting up last Thursday with, 90 seconds after, a double at 120 in the clean and jerk. And he's like, whoa, sit your ass down. No, just chill out. Give me sit down for 2 more minutes. You're good. And I'm over here like, oh, hey, I guess maybe that's why I'm missing my lifts, is because I'm only giving myself a minute rest in between everything.
No, so between my opener and my second attempt, I don't remember what Josh was missing weights left and right on, missed 2 out of the 3 and kept us terrified. But there was going to be almost 9 minutes between my last warm up and because he kept missing.
Yeah.
So they had stripped the bars down. They were starting to get the women's bars out for the next session, and I quick ran back there and we loaded 120, and I did a power clean and push press just to keep warm, because it had been 9 minutes, and I still knew that I had at least 2 more minutes.
Wow. 9 minutes. And that's something that that's where that almost that mental toughness comes in, because your body has it, right? Physically you're in shape enough, you got it. But then the mental part kicks in with I'm going to sit here for 9 minutes, that's tough. And you went out, and is that the one you made? Right.
Yeah, that was I made the first 2.
Yeah.
But you made the comment on it. You're like, oh, was it a power clean to front squat to almost push press?
Dude, your catch was and you've always caught really high, but you catch, and then you were like, bam, I'm like, oh my God, something just woke up. Damn.
Well, that was also the one where I'm like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
My bars rolled into my throat.
No, that you moved really quick on that one, and it was quick. Overall, I think that that looked like a fun comp. Minus a couple weird things with the bar and shit, but
yeah. But no, I'm planning on. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead. I was just gonna ask you about the time off.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I'm planning on being back in the gym tomorrow.
Heck
I
yeah.
am blown away by how many people that I know who realistically haven't been doing the sport nearly that long. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait to take a couple weeks off. Like, I want to go and like clear
Oh,
my head and I want to just not really think about weightlifting for a little while. I'm like, you haven't been lifting that long.
how do you
Like,
take a couple weeks off?
you're young. You
Yeah.
are, meaning they're going to recover very quickly.
Yes.
Their numbers that they're lifting are not that high that they're going to get so beat up that they can't walk straight. I remember after the day after Worlds in 2022,
Hmm.
the pain hadn't kicked in yet. I
Yeah, it
did
never
lift
does.
the next day. I went down to Freedom Weightlifting and had some fun with the guys down there.
Hmm.
After that, I could barely walk straight. That was like pushed over the edge for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I needed to have that full like week and a half off. But I was actually in the gym like 3 days later, but I couldn't do anything.
Right.
And I'm just blown away how many people that they're like, I just can't wait to, it's going to be the off season now. I'm like, off season?
Yeah. What? Jesus. There's no real off season in weightlifting. Like I said, I took a week off last year and I did it and I was distracted. It was we were on vacation. I timed it so like I came back from the meet and immediately went on vacation with the family. And that was a really fun thing to do. And I enjoyed it. But I'll tell you, I was like, I think by Friday of that week off, I was itching and to get back into doing something. But, we were riding bikes, we were going on walks, we were doing all those kinds of things. So it's not like I was just stagnant, but I couldn't imagine 2 weeks. I couldn't imagine 3 weeks. To me, I would miss it. I think I would just be like, I'd get out there.
The people who are saying this stuff, they're single. They don't have kids. I don't even know if they're in relationships.
What?
I'm like, are you freaking serious right
Then
now?
what are you doing exactly?
I'm like, when you take a week off or something, or when I took some time off, like after a really big meet, I mean, I dedicated 9 months of my life to Worlds. Like
Right.
my family and my kids and wife, like all of those relationships suffered. My work life ratio was very off and my family life ratio was very off. I had to like pull back and give back to all of those other things that I've been neglecting. These are people who are literally like in their 20s with not real careers yet.
Yeah.
Like trying to find that career. And they're just like, I need some me time. I'm like, this is my me time. Like what you need a rest from is what I do to rest. That just shows what different stages of life we are in.
Yes, absolutely. And also I got to say, like, I mean, I would be lost. Like if I didn't have my family, I don't know what else I would be doing besides weightlifting. Like, you know what I mean? Like even it's just like I get home from work and I'm like immediately working towards the next thing. And I get done with lifting, I'm immediately working towards the next thing. Like how do you shut off your brain in that moment? Like listen, I have my days where I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to max it. We call it max and relaxing day. And it's like, we just do nothing. We watch movies, we order takeout, and it is fantastic. But I will say, and my wife does this too, but we both kind of get a little grumpy after about 4 or 5 hours of like, okay, we got to do something right now. Like I'm going to go squat. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that there's just different types of people in life where the people who are wanting all this time off, I don't think they've earned it.
Right.
And I think that the people who are taking it off because they've sacrificed too much other parts of their life, they don't want the time off, but they know that they have to feed the other part of their life to keep it alive.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think there's also, and I don't know if you do, if you get this in your head at all, but I know I do from time to time, and I try to be present, but at the same point, like there's an aspect of me getting out there and being on the platform and lifting and training and competing and doing all that stuff. I know I have a clock. I know there's going to be a time where it's going to be real damn hard to get out there, not because of my lifestyle, but because of my age. Mm-hmm. And that's that to me, it's like the same thing with my kids. Like I want them, I love my kids. I want them to grow and I want them to be independent and do their own things. But I'll tell you, man, it will make me emotional, like to sit there and look at them and be like, you're growing too quick. Like, slow down, because there is a time, there is a clock on which we can do this. And so it's like I don't want to say at our age, but at this point in our lifting time, that clock's a little smaller. And, you got to utilize and take advantage of everything you have out there. And boy, I have people at work ask me all the time, why do you do this so much? And I'm just like, because I don't have forever in it. I know that there are 70-year-old people out there lifting. I get it. But it's as you get to that age and as you get to those weights, I would imagine that the lifting changes. It's a different sport at that moment.
Yeah, it's their version of badminton or croquet or whatever.
There you go. Yeah.
It's what they're just doing to do stuff. They're not realistically, the 70-year-olds are not out there pushing. They're pushing their body to potentially what their limit is, but their limit is so low that it's cool for them. Yeah. But it's not something that, like, if you and I had to go out there and snatch 35 kilos and we're like, cool, that's it for the day. We're like, nah, we're going to do something else.
Yes.
There was a podcast a long time ago from a coach who no one knows about anymore, who owned Delta Weightlifting, named Don Ricci. Yeah. He's one of my favorite coaches out there. And he did a podcast. I have it saved somewhere. I'll probably send it to you.
Cool.
And he just talked about how every lift you do, you're one closer to the last lift you'll ever do. And you don't know how close you are to the end until it's the end. And the people who are young, who have so much potential, just waste it. And the people who, like you and I, who are closer towards the end, we see what people are wasting and taking for granted.
Yeah.
And then that's what I think frustrates me, definitely, where I see these people, I'm like, you could push so much harder. You could do so much better. And it's not just about weightlifting. It's like, you could do so much better in your life, but the way you, like they say, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I see a lot of these people, and the way that they're talking about taking time off, it's like, that's how you do in life too. Like, you're having the same stuff going on in life as you're justifying for weightlifting. And it's just a bummer.
It is a bummer. And it's like, I see that a lot with like the people that I employ. And, I think everybody should take time off, but I think that, there's a certain age, and this is not even because I had to do it, but I just think it's a way that brings value to life, which is you work your ass off when you can. That way, when you don't have to, that way when you can't, you don't have to. And I really like what you said just a minute ago, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was like I don't remember how you said it, but it was a quote that you just said. But it's like the time I look at my kids and I try to get them to see that, like, yes, be busy, stack your schedule. We are going to push you until 8:00 at night in a good way. But like, we're going to stack your schedule. We're going to give you sports. I don't care what you do something outside of school. You have to. That's the one rule we have in this house. School is just school, but you have to do something outside. I don't care if it's going to get tutored. I don't care if it's, training or going to the field or playing a sport or going into theater. I don't care. The point is that we want to instill into them that, like, it's not just about going and doing the things you have to do. It's about doing everything that you can to create a better future and give opportunity, right? I don't know. Yeah. It's to me, it is a very frustrating thing, because I'm like, I see kids with so much opportunity, and I'm like, you could be so great. You could be so great, but you're just choosing and making the choices not to. And, you just got to walk away from that, though. Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, there's one kid at the gym now, and I am so excited to see what his potential is. And I want to invest my time into him for the time that I'm still here, like at this gym.
Yeah.
Before I move. This kid, he started a year ago, March 8th.
Okay.
March 8th this year, he snatched 120. Like,
Wow.
he's a year in. He's
That's
22 or 23
awesome.
years old.
Yeah.
He's very coachable. He's never combative. If you come at him with something, you're like, hey, this is wrong. He's like, okay, how do I fix it? It's like, try this.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I'll try that. One comment I made, he stopped jumping forward. He was like a 3 or 4 inch forward jumper.
Right.
I was like, hey, try this. And he's like, okay. And he stopped. And I was like, I don't lift or pound you often enough. And you're not generally here when I'm coaching, but I've seen this for months. Like the 1 or 2 times where like I look over and I see you 4 platforms down and you're jumping forward. And I just made one comment and he stopped. And
that's
then,
awesome.
I think he's 24. And I was talking to another coach at the meet, and I'm like, this kid, I told him, if you don't snatch at least 160 before you're done, like, I am disappointed in you.
Yeah, no kidding. 120 within a year, like, yeah.
120 on the first year, and he's got so much more in the tank.
That's
and
awesome.
The other nice part is he ended up weighing in at like 100.5 or something, and he's like, I lost too much weight. And I was like, well, what are you going to do with the weight class change? And he goes, you said I should go up. So I'm just going to let my body do what it's going to do. And I might be a 102, 110.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to weigh 110, but if I end up getting to 110, then I'll pay attention to keeping it under 110. But so this kid has got 10 kilos. He's going to get to grow his body, and he's already like 120, 150.
Oh.
In a year.
That's awesome. See, and it's that type of stuff right there that's like, when you see one come along, you want to like do everything you can for that person. Like you said, you like, here, let me help you, because not only are they taking the help, but they have that drive and that fire that aligns with, almost what you have, or what other people that have that go, do this sport. I love it. I think being a mentor in this sport there's more mentors that are needed, in my opinion. Being locked into your own opinion on how you think it should be done is one thing, but like being open to mentor the young ones is another. I like, for instance, Sean Waxman, he's one of my favorites, but like, seeing him, he dropped most of his weightlifting stuff to go work on strength training for high school, and that's because he knows that's the foundation of this all this stuff. So it's a good topic. Maybe we should expand on that next time. But we are at 43 minutes, and it's been a really good show. I love the recap. You did fantastic yesterday. There's also one part of this that I did not say, and I was specifically waiting to the end, was happy belated birthday. You also lifted on your birthday, and that's cool. I will not sing. I will not do any of that stuff to you. So I just wanted to say happy birthday.
Cool.
Other than that, dude, thank you for being on and sharing the trials and tribulations with yesterday and all the fun stuff that lead up to that. I think anybody who's listening can take at least 1 or 2 things from that and learn. And I hope that people do. Everybody, thank you for listening. Cornell, as always, thank you. And we'll talk to y'all later. Adios.
Bye.